Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East-West Show. Jack Chow on the East-West Show with GNE TV. Every time when it is an election in the year, we get busy quite a bit in the summertime, during summertime. Right now, this year, 2018, the same thing. I recall 2.5 years ago, it was about the summer of 2015, I started talking to this great gentleman, a friend of mine, Mr. Chen Gang of Irvine of Orange County, and I found him quite a bit with a mindset that is so acceptable to people that we get acquainted with. From then on, I paid lots of attention to his social network almost on day-to-day basis. And I found out recently he's running again for Irvine City Council. So I invited him here to meet with my audiences as my promotion to him. With that as a lead line, you're welcome, sir, to the show.
Thank you. First of all, thank Jack for inviting me back. I remember I came here in 2015 and 2016. It's a great honor to be able to talk to all of you here. This is a great platform. I really enjoy being here. I want to talk to you about the issue that you care about.
Very good, very good. And as a matter of fact, here at this show, we do not have our specific political stand. We take no partisan whatsoever, no partisanship, no position. We only care about what is important to the grassroots, what is important to regular people, like regular Joes, regular Sues, their day-to-day life. I found out in Mr. Chen Gang, he has the kind of quality, the mindset I call the value system that is quite acceptable to lots of folks of my own liking. So with that as an introduction though, I would like you yourself once again to introduce yourself to the audiences in case they see you the first time.
Okay, very good. Again, good morning everyone. My name is Gang Chen. First name spells like Gang, G-A-N-G. Last name is Chen. So for you to remember our campaign, we made a very easy and unique tagline. It's called Join Our Gang for a Better Irvine. Of course, our gang is a good gang.
All right, it's a good gang. Yeah,
I'm an architect by trade. I came to the United States in 1990 with a scholarship. I went to University of Southern California, studied in the School of Architecture. And also, after I got my master's degree in landscape architecture there, I studied in the urban planning department for 1 year for my PhD.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. And Irvine is a beautiful city,
yes.
Especially when you talk about Disneyland located in Irvine. Well, this is a city that nobody doesn't know. As long as you know Disneyland, you must know Irvine. Irvine has been a great city, yet there's a lot of discussion about Irvine from all directions. And I recall that back then in 2015, there was quite an issue. The issue, of course, nowadays is no longer important though. Now, 2 years, 3 years later, when you come back to your campaign again, what is your bottom line? What are your major issues, please?
Major issue is the reason Irvine is a great city. Everybody come to Irvine because Irvine is the safest city for 12 years in a row for a city with over 100,000 population. Irvine is safe. Irvine, the school is very good, has a lot of park, and has a lot of job opportunities. People love Irvine. As a result, everybody want to come to Irvine. People from out of state, even out of country want to come to Irvine. So the population has grown rapidly. When I first moved to Irvine in 1997, the population is about 100,000.
I see.
Now the population is 270,000, almost 300,000, almost triple the population.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see.
So as the Irvine is such a great city, everybody come here, there's a lot of rapid development. Of course, we see problems come with the development of number one, everybody care about still the traffic is the number one concern for most of the voters. Yeah. Also, I still want to focus on control the development. We don't want to stop all the development altogether, but we want to control it and use a better master planning to make the city better. The reason why Irvine is such a great city, because Irvine is, in 1960, was planned by an architect whose name is William Pereira. And he has a very unique village concept. Basically, Irvine is composed of tiny village, so-called. Within a village, it's about 1 mile radius. You can go to your shopping, your schools. You can walk to your schools, you can buy to your schools. But in the past 5 or 10 years, there are some mega development happening in Irvine. So what happens, they combine all the shopping in one big location. It makes it not so convenient for the community. The village concept, the unique part of village concept is because it digests a lot of local traffic. Like for example, 8 o'clock in the morning, about 50% of traffic, I would say, is the parents sending their kids to school.
Okay.
If you design it as a village concept within walking distance or biking distance, parents don't have to drive, and you immediately reduce the traffic by half. So if you go back to the mega planning method, then every time you send a kid to school, you have to go to the major arterial school, a road for the city. You create more traffic. So we need to go back to the basics and revisit the master plan of Irvine and restore the village concept.
In other words, there's a big difference between the concept of a village and the concept of a metropolitan city.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, and one of your bottom line issue is that you want to maintain the concept or stay as close to it as possible.
Yes.
To retain Irvine as a village.
Yes.
Right, rather than a large metropolitan city.
Maybe in the future, Irvine will become a metropolis, but we need to slowly develop. Even if we want to develop into metropolitans, we still need to find a better way to master plan it. That way we can digest the local traffic. We need to have different layers of the traffic systems. The major streets are only for people traveling to a long distance. So for the local traffic, we want to digest, for example, like UCI. I did door-to-door campaign at VCI. I talked to many students there. They said, actually, we want to have more housing for students because a 2-bedroom apartment here is like $2,700. That's very expensive.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so for the area next to UCI, we can actually use the mixed-use concept. Like, for example, the first and second floor could be a 7-Eleven or small restaurants. The students can just go downstairs and eat their lunch, breakfast, dinner, and buy groceries. And then second floor, they can do some small office. Like when they graduate, they can come back and do their small startup company there. Above that, you can do residential, condominium, and so on. That way, you can digest the traffic within the same building, localize the traffic.
You're right.
Yes.
In other words, instead of develop a city horizontally, you can also develop a city vertically.
Yes, but you need to contain the function within a small area. That way you don't generate a lot of traffic for the daily trip. If you want to buy milk, you can go downstairs to get it from 7-Eleven.
You're right.
Yes.
What I can tell you now is that I am more convinced by the concept than 2 or 3 years ago. It was quite recently. It was not until I had this conversation with a friend of mine talking about flood diversion of a city versus city development.
Yes.
Did I get the concept of, we really have to slow down somewhere somehow.
Yes.
Recently, he and I were talking about a flood situation in one of the cities, fast developing city in China, right? And he says that before everybody had a car, the city had to be ready first in 10 or 20 years ahead of time to get everybody a parking.
Yes.
Or otherwise, you do not have the facility to facilitate the car situation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And in order to have a city, you have to consider about where the flood water shall go once there is a huge rain that causes a heavy flood. Right?
Yes.
We take the Gugong, for example.
Yes.
You know Gugong,
Forbidden City.
Forbidden City, right? And ever since it was built, so many years have passed already. More than 600 years have passed already. Nobody can tell how many floody seasons it had gone through.
Yes.
It has never been flooded.
Yes.
That's a good example.
Yes.
Right. So now today, when we come back to talk about development of your city, Irvine, based upon a small village concept, from that on, you're talking about you would want the city go in a steady, smaller steps rather than leaping forward.
Yes.
Am
yes,
I right?
That's right.
Oh, right. Good,
Yes.
good, good,
Since
good,
the
good.
city has developed so much, the population has tripled, but the infrastructure has not catch up with the population growth. For example, when I moved to Irvine in 1997, actually before that, in 1995, I started to work in Irvine. For 2 years, I lived in an unincorporated area very close to Irvine for 2 years before I bought my first single-family home in Irvine. And so the population has grown tremendously, has tripled, but the library, we still have the same library as in 1997. At that time, in 1997, we had 3 high schools, University High, Woodbridge High, and Irvine High. Now the population has tripled. We only have 5 high schools. We have
I see.
Northwood High and Portola Spring High School.
I see,
And
I see.
the library is still the same. So there's a lot of things that we need to do. We need to go back and look at the basics and improve the infrastructure to make sure the infrastructure can support the population growth. The traffic is another example of infrastructure that has not been catch up with the population growth. We need to.
Does that have
Yes.
anything to do with your Asian concept?
Uh,
When you do things more steadily and unless absolutely
sustainable
necessary.
concept. Yeah, it's a universal concept. It's in Asia, it's in America. Even I think in the 1990s, United States has a movement. It's called Green Building Movement, and now it has spread throughout the world. Spread to Canada, China, Europe. That started by United States Green Building Council, the sustainable concept, including like how you plan this a city. If you have a certain facility like shopping, school, within a walking distance to the residential area, you gain a certain point. They use a system called LEED, L-E-E-D, means Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. Basically, environmental friendly used to be a very abstract concept. Just okay, good for environment, but how good for the environment? They quantify it. So once you quantify it, it becomes something that you can improve. I actually have written many books on this subject, leadership.
Otherwise, your concept only,
Yeah.
without a quantification, right?
Yes.
Okay, my dear friends, today with my dear friend Gang Qiang of Irvine of Orange County, I'm touching base with some of the visionary concept in the subject of city development. Let's take a very short moment out. We come back, we'll continue from there on to see what's also new in the city of Irvine and in the county of Orange County. Stay with us. Hello, dear friends, my dear fellow Californians. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on the East West Show with GNE TV. Today with me is my friend Chen Gang, Gang Chen, the Gang of Chen, anyway, of Irvine, Orange County. And he is the candidate for Irvine City Council member, for which position he started his first try with 2015-16, and yet he is trying again. I believe this time he has a much better chance than 2 years, 3 years ago, because I started to get the feeling that he is quite widely accepted.
Thank you.
Why? Because his concept get more known by the people, by the relevant people, by caring people, by his constituents, possibly. Right now, back to his concept of city development, though. In addition to that, of course, what you have described about your concept in city development, I would say make lots of sense. If you are really calling yourself sober-minded,
Yes.
you really want to slow down a little bit to see what you have, what you got to do. When you want to move forward, though, you really want to make your steps in proportion with others.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Such as your schools, such as your roads, road conditions, your traffic, and your library, even
Yes.
your grocery stores, even your laundry, dry cleaner, whatsoever.
Yes.
Right? That
yes.
kind of thing.
Yes.
Quite recently, for the past 2.5 years, Orange County, especially Irvine, in the name of Irvine, has caused lots of attention due to two reasons. Number one, on the Santa Ana River Trail, there has this problem been there for years after years, if not decades. And right now it's gone. Right? I have to check with you what happened on that thing, on that project, or on that problem.
You're talking about the homeless problem.
Yeah, homeless problem.
Yes, this problem came around in April this year, because there's a lot of homeless people that had camped out at the Santa Ana riverbed. The county decided they need to use the riverbed, and then decided to move the homeless people to a new location. So at that time, they were talking about putting the homeless people in the Great Park of Irvine. That's not a very good choice, because the Great Park has many soccer fields, many kids play there all day long. Putting homeless people there will be a great danger to the kids and the community. So at that time, there's a huge firestorm outbreak from the urban citizens. They said, no, this is not the right place.
I recall that fight, yes.
Yeah, people have sitting in 7 or 8 buses go all the way to the county to protest. I was part of the movement, yeah. I was traveling in China, but I was like doing a lot of online WeChat, social media campaign with them. Yeah, I hear what the people
There's
say.
a little something, little background. I would like a little background of prerequisite conditions that I would like to check with you, though. What is your take of the homeless problem?
First of all, we all care about homeless people. We all think the whole society want to help them out. But we need to use the right way to help them out. Right now, the county has collected more than $200 million that's supposed to be used for homeless people. They have not used it for the homeless people. They could have used the homeless money to build more affordable housing for homeless. And a lot of the homeless people, they are drug addicts.
Where did the money go?
They still just sitting somewhere. They have not used it for the homeless people.
Ah.
Yeah, or some of portion of them might have been misused at some other area.
I see.
But yeah.
You mean the county or the city?
The county.
The county.
Orange County.
At the county level.
It's a county problem. They cannot just transfer the county problem to the city of Irvine. That's not right.
I see.
So the Orange County has more than 30 cities. Every city needs to help out, but we need to find a better location for everybody.
All right.
And I think the number one to handle the homeless problem is we can make sure we fully utilize the existing homeless shelter. There's a lot of homeless shelter that has not been used to its full capacity. What happens is some of the homeless there, they don't want to live in the shelter. Because if they live in the shelter, they cannot do drugs. They don't have the freedom to do drugs. So we need to solve their problem, send them to the drug rehab, get rid of the drug problems, and make sure they can go to the homeless shelter. Otherwise, you put it in the tent in Irvine or any other city, you just transfer the problem from one city to the other. And Dana Point, I read a lot of social media posts like, at the very beginning they have, we love this to help them out. They brought the homeless people to Dana Point. That's created a lot of problem there. A lot of safety concern for the parents. The homeless go to people's backyard and so on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And first, I believe that you raised a very serious point, though. As citizens of Orange County, we would all have to ask questions or pounding for answers. Where did the money go?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Get the money back.
Yes.
Right? How much do we have left?
Yes.
And how much have been misused?
Yes.
How much have been squandered?
Yes.
Right?
That's
so
right.
with the remainders, what we want to do you have a plan?
Yes.
If you don't have a plan, we have a plan.
Yes.
Or like that kind. This is number one.
Yes.
Right? Number two, I was thinking about to separate the people, the homeless. There are the true homeless people. Their only problem is that they do not have a house.
Yes.
They do not have a roof over them. right? Otherwise, they're okay, right?
Yes.
That kind of homeless.
Yes.
And there's the drug addicted homeless.
Yes.
There are the criminal homeless.
Yes.
Right. Has anybody working on that, please?
I think there's a lot of group that they have been talking to them. Even there's a new nonprofit that grown out of the grassroots movement in April, called OC United Alliance. I'm part of the. I'm in their WeChat group. They actually visited the homeless people. There's homeless people. They say, within the homeless, they have good guys and bad guys. Some of the bad guys, they use drugs. They bully other people.
We
they
separate
rape
them.
the other homeless women. So we need to differentiate the people. We can do drug tests for those people, and then maybe the people who pass the drug test and can have a priority go to the homeless shelter first. So we need to screen out the homeless people. If they do have drug problem, we need to help them to do the drug rehab to solve the problem first. Otherwise, they just do you know that when they remove the homeless tent in the St. Andrew River bed, they found 18,000 needles there.
Yeah.
That's scary, very scary.
Later we'll talk about needle problem.
Yes.
But right now you mentioned about the fact that there are some grassroots organizations carrying or tackling these problems, right?
Yes, yes.
Is there any government effort either from the county level or at the city level?
Yes, I think the city mayor, they have done a few meetings. They try to come up with a joint solution. They actually proposed one location. It's at the Silverado Canyon area. That's where the Holy Canyon fire is.
All right.
They have a school that was converted to a library.
Open land?
No, there was a school that was converted to a library. They were proposing to use that as a homeless shelter. There's a daycare center very close to that. They may have to find a way to either somehow protect the kids or relocate. But unfortunately, that proposal by the more than 30 cities mayor was voted down by the Orange County supervisor. So, but they're still working on it. They're trying to come up with a solution. I know the mayor is still working on it.
Like I said, we first need to find out where the money is, right?
Yes.
And then we need to separate these people into different groups.
Yes.
Right. For different groups, we might have to find a different place for them.
Yes.
And then with the money still left, though, to find an open land that belongs to the county, that belongs to the city whatsoever, to build some affordable houses.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And also to create jobs for them to get back on their own feet.
Yes, yes. Homeless, one of the main reasons they become homeless because they do not have money to pay for their rent, pay for their food.
Yeah.
So to really solve the homeless problem, you bring up a good point. We need to find them a good job opportunity.
Yeah.
But first of all, we need to differentiate the homeless people. They are not a huge homeless group. Within them,
but right now, you look at the picture, though, they are gone. The river trail is cleaned up whatsoever. Where are they now?
I think they scatter at different cities, and some of them go to some of the homeless shelters. Some of them they have the hotel coupon for
the
them.
hotel coupons last only 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days whatsoever.
It's running out very soon.
It's running out very soon.
Yeah, that's why I
checked. It were only 51 hotels went into the program, and there's $1.6 million involved. And they provide rooms from 30 to 60 to 90 days maximum.
Yes.
And that is when that is exhausted, that is exhausted.
Yes.
Right. So it's only a temporary relief.
Yes. I think all the more than 30 different cities mayor, they have been meeting. They have been trying to come up with a solution.
Very good.
Working with the county and also the judge that's presiding over this matter.
Yes. My dear friends, today with my friend Chen Gang of Orange County, City of Irvine, candidate of a City of Irvine council member, we're finding out about the problems in those cities. Of course, beautiful city, beautiful county, they do have problems too, right? And let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, now that we mentioned about needles, there is a program called the Needle Exchange Programs. I want to touch base with him on that one. So we'll be right back, please. Hello, dear friends, my lovely fellow Californians. Welcome back to the show. As a matter of fact, we're talking about one of our beautiful cities in Southern California, Orange County. In Orange County, we're talking about one of the most beautiful cities for Southern California, Irvine, where Disneyland is situated, where my friend Chen Gang is running for as city council member. So, welcome back to the show once again.
Happy to be back.
Very good.
Yes.
And we are happy to see you back running.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, good. Yes, we touched base with you about the city development, about the homelessness issue.
Yes.
There is another issue which is lately heard a lot over the radio, on the news, on TV, on newspaper, on social media, so on and so forth. That is the needle exchange program. What is that, please?
So basically, it's the county health department. They give out some clean needles for the drug addicts so that they will not share the needle. They will not spread the HIV or hepatitis B or C or whatever the contagious disease. I think this is a good intention, but that's not the right way to really solve the problem. This is a problem. You need to find out what's the source of the problem. The needle exchange is solving the symptom of the problem. The root problem is the drug problem. So we need to make sure the drug addict, you need to send them to the drug rehab center to make sure they do not do drug anymore. That's the best way to remove the problem. Otherwise, that's like anything else, there's pros and cons for any issue. This one, the pro issue is like,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But there's a little argument that I would like to discuss with you. I'm not necessarily arguing with you. Even if I am arguing with you, I will say I'll do it very respectfully. Right? Okay. Now, the drug problem is a problem ever since the dog was created.
yes.
Right? It's forever been there. Suppose the U.S. government can put a 100% ban of drug dealing, when you can't stop those smugglings from abroad, from the other side of the border.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Given the situation, given the location, right, close to the border, though, you can never, ever stop the struggle, the smuggling in. So now, before that day, suppose someday later, many years later, that can be stopped too, right?
Yes.
We are still talking about, say, in 50 years, these two problems domestically will have that 100% banned, and internationally we'll see that totally stopped, and then we can also stop smuggling. Yet we have the 50 years to go.
Yes.
During the 50 years, people do not just listen to you, right? Right? You told them, do not reuse the used needles, do not share the needles, do not use any contaminated needles. They do not listen. So do you think it is a kind of a soft measure that kick in to hang on, try to mitigate the problem, minimize the impact? Do you think so?
This is one way of looking at it. This is the pro side of the needle. I know the intention is try to stop the spread of contagious disease. This is a very good intention, but there are unintended consequences. For example, if you hand out the free needles in Santa Ana or any other cities, all the drug addicts, they want to move there to get the free needles. So that create influence the drug addict to the certain city. The local population has suffered as a result. And if you just get the needles and you make it easier for them to do drugs, if they have no needles, they have to buy the needles, it make it harder. They give them a stronger incentive to quit the drug. So you want to make it harder for them to do drugs instead of making it easier for them to do drugs. So I think the needle program is a good intention program, but has a lot of unintended results. Just like people get sick. Like about 20 years ago, somebody got a Nobel Prize, found out the stomach ache. It says caused by a germ. So if you have a stomach ache, you can eat painkiller to solve the problem temporarily, but you have not killed the germs. It's going to come back to you 20, 30 years down the road. You could easily just eat the antibiotic And after 10 days, the problem is gone. The germs called pylori is gone. So if you do not kill the problem, the stomach ache could become an ulcer, could become a stomach cancer or pancreatic cancer. There's a lot of problem down the road. So like any disease, you need to cure the root cause of the disease, not just the symptom. So the con side of the opinion, I'm more in line with against the program. We can phase out the needle program, but put more money into the drug rehab. Try to help those drug addicts to quit the drug, to solve the drug problem. That's the way to do the things. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I agree with you. I agree. I'm saying that I'm not arguing with you. Even if I do argue, I argue very respectfully. I'm talking about the fact that you really want to convince yourself that that is the problem there hanging, right?
Yes.
Should we take care of the problem from the very root cause? Of course we should.
Yes.
Right? But it takes time.
Yes,
right?
I agree with you.
But it takes time, right? Okay, now, for example, if somebody pushed me in to the emergency room because I have an open wound, right? As a doctor, surgeon, does he start giving me the blood infusion first or sew up my wound first? Right? Most of possibly they would have two doctors doing the both end, right?
Yes.
However, when there is one doctor, the doctor, if it is wide enough though, he would apply the blood infusion, right? And then when blood flow is okay, he started sewing up the wound. Now we have an open wound here, right? Lots of people are addicted to drugs, right? They have to use drugs as a norm, right? Whatever you say, drugs is kind of like when you're in it, you must get it at any cost. That's why they are druggies. That's what we're doing, right? So while we're taking care of the problem in the long run, though, at this very specific time, to protect people, to protect our kids, our community, though, let them hold on to their own problem, at least use some clean needles. So that is where and how and why this program came into being.
I know. I understand what you're saying.
So
So basically, you're being more practical. There's an existing problem. We need to handle it first. Then we find a long-term solution. That's your point.
You're right.
I understand 100%. But what I'm saying is, this needle program, there's some unintended consequence. Like basically, the message is like, it's okay to do drugs, and also create an influx of drug addict to a certain area. The local people is not happy about it. I know it's very hard for people to quit drugs. I was in the church in the 1990s, listened to somebody who has been done drugs for many, many years. He said, he tried all the drugs we have, it does not work. Finally, how did he get rid of drugs? By using the Bible, praying. So there's a lot of ways that you think it's impossible, it's possible at a certain point. So, and then he quit the drug himself. He go around and preach gospel and help people to quit the drug problem.
Sure.
Actually, there's drug problem is very deep, very widespread. He said every time after he go to a certain church to give a gospel speech about how to quit the drugs, there's always parents stay behind, say, my son or my daughter has this drug problem. How do you help him to solve it?
Consulting him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know it's a widespread problem, but we really need to tackle it from the root.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I understand that you agree with me. So what if that you move a little bit my way, I move a little bit your way, to get somewhere in between, right? And I'll later, next segment, check with you about where you stand, how you want to push your work, day-to-day job, once you're selected, right? Once you're elected, I mean.
Yes.
This is the one of the problems you have to face anyway.
Yes.
Sooner or later. Anyway, all right?
Yes.
I'm talking about that standard role model who became a priest himself.
Yes.
For example, it takes 5 days for him to become one. right? During the 5 days, let's do something to hold on to,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Let's do something for the 5 days only to minimize the problem, to mitigate the impact, right? To a certain limit. This is the thing. In the meantime, when I did my research, I found out in Australia, in Canada, in New Zealand, in Switzerland, in Spain, including United Kingdom, lots of countries do the same thing. They call it also by the same name, the needle exchange program. All right, I believe each of those countries, they have the elite leaders who do see as a visionary about the measures they're taking is only temporary relief, like your painkiller thing, right?
Yes.
Yet they have to take it, right? Something like that.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, we leave it to discussion when we come back.
Okay.
All right. My dear friend, with Mr. Chen Gang, I'm having once again a good time to see a beautiful city of Irvine come into being, even more beautiful. I like Irvine, except its housing price is too expensive. I wish I really could afford some houses in Irvine and doing my job here. And, I'll do the best and eat in Monterey Park. Okay, if I have the freedom. For that, I have to have a helicopter to move me around quick enough, right? All right, okay. Now, anyway, so let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we put all the problems together, all the problematic issues for him to stretch his head to let us know once he is selected, he is elected the council member of Irvine, how he is going to do his job. Stay with us, please.
Thank you.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, my dear fellow Californians. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on the East West Show with GNE TV, talking about the beautiful city of Irvine, talking about Irvine that has a future because we have a new member ready to get into the city council. He is the candidate for Irvine City Council, Mr. Chen Gang. I like him a lot for during the past years. I got a chance to know him bit and by bit and more through his social network. And every time he posts an issue, I follow the issue. And by doing that, I get to the bottom line of his mindset. I like that. And I wish every city has somebody that holds that kind of philosophy, that kind of concept. Well, everywhere we have a beautiful city in that case. So welcome back to the show.
Yes.
Now, with you that we discussed all these issues, right? First, we talk about Orange County. We talk about city of Irvine. Back to its early days,
Yes.
when it was designed following one concept, a small village. From that point on, versus the fast developing situation, fast growing population. And then we're talking about the homeless issue. The richer you go, the
Yes.
richer you get, the more homeless you produce. I don't know how they are related. If they are, why? If they are not, why? However, they are a problem there, right? Okay. Thirdly, we're talking about some of them are drug addicted,
Yes.
right? So for them, well, they do nothing but drugs at any cost, even their own lives, right? You can't stop them, literally can't stop them. And for drug supply, there is no way you can stop it because legally you can ban it. Of course, we are banning it. But, law, when the enforcement is concerned, there is no way you can enforce it. Suppose even if you can, not stop these smuggling, right? Okay, now, with all these problems together versus the future of Irvine, as an elected member on the council, though, how do you want to do your job?
Okay.
Hard one.
Yes. First of all, the city of Irvine was great because of an architect. He has a great master plan in 1960s. His name is William Pereira. The reason why the city has grown so well is because we based on his master plan. Unfortunately, in the past years, five or 10 years, we deviated from the master plan. So it takes me, I'm a licensed architect in California, to restore the city back to its right track, to go back to the concept of the village concept and go back to the correct master plan. My vision for the city is very easy. My campaign platform is very simple. It's one vision with three focus. The vision is to make Irvine into a real first-class city, and my three focus is traffic and control our growth and education. That's are the three major things that our voter care about.
Control our growth.
Yes.
What do you mean by the growth? Do you mean population? Do you mean economy?
Building more housings. Control the housing development.
Housing.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
particularly. If we do want to build, we need to take a hard look. First of all, I don't want to stop all the development. That's not going to work because if you never develop into a city into a great city by stopping all the developments. Growth is something that you cannot stop, but you want to control the development and make sure the growth toward the right directions. Like, for example, we can generate mixed-use housing next to UCI to digest all the student traffic. That way they don't have to drive to around the town to buy milk, buy grocery. They could just buy their grocery downstairs at their 7-Eleven store or small supermarket in their mixed-use complex. So there's a lot of things we can do to control the growth. And we, for example, we still want to go back to the concept in the new development. Within 1 mile, we want to make sure all the infrastructure, shopping, medical office, schools, within 1 mile area. That way people can walk to it or bicycle to it. So that's the concept that make Irvine so great. We digest the local traffic within a local area instead of pushing the local traffic to the main street of the city.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
It is exactly versus the fact that you have a city that, 10 miles to the east you have the hospitals, and 20 miles to the west you have the shopping centers, and just 5 miles to the south you have the recreation center, and then 100 miles to the north you have sports arena or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about in the community, within a mile and a half though, people tend to get everything.
The basic needs.
Basic needs.
Yeah.
Basic needs. If they need a concert, they go to concert center though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they can also entertain themselves by going to a theater for a film.
Yes, that's right.
That's a good concept. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then what else? And I like say, how do you handle your homeless problem? I know someday somehow it's going to come back to haunt you.
Yes.
They are just disappeared periodically right
Yes.
now for the time being.
Yes.
They're going to come back to haunt you, Qinggang, hey, okay, here's the problem like
Yes.
that. How do you want to deal with it?
First of all, we city of Irvine already has 10% mandatory affordable housing. But you need to meet a certain income guideline. Those are affordable housing is at a much lower price compared with the market rate. So if your income is low enough, you can get in line to buy the affordable housing.
Oh, can I get one?
Yeah, if you
I belong to the low income.
Second of all, go back to homeless issue. We need to go back and pound on the county, say where is the $200+ million?
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
So we need to use the money to solve the homeless crisis instead of pushing the county crisis to Irvine or a certain city. So county need to use the money the right way, to use the money to create housing or put the drug addict to the.
In other words, on behalf of the city, you're going to
negotiate with the county.
Knock the doors on the county, say,
Yes.
hey, well, where's the money?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Do I get a share of it? Am I right?
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's supposed to be a share to Irvine anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, those are all taxpayer monies. We need to use it the right way.
After all, all right.
Make sure the county is using the money properly. Yeah. And also within the homeless, we can work with the county to kind of screen the homeless into different groups. Some of them are criminals. We need to put them in different place. And some of them is drug addict. We need to put them in drug rehab center. If some people, just because they're poor, become homeless, we need to find a way to find them, put them
Yeah.
in either homeless
Yeah,
shelter
yeah,
or
yeah,
affordable housing,
Yeah.
and create job opportunity for
I
them.
did some research myself. Among the homeless, there are quite a few of them. About 25% of those who are just those folks, unfortunately, somewhere, somehow in their life, they tumble over something.
A huge medical bill, for example.
Or for example, right?
Yeah.
They tumbled over something when they fell. They never were able to get back on their feet.
So we had the obligation to
And
help
the
them.
things the things from then on going from worse to worse to worse and to worse. Right? I went to LA Lady of Our Time church downtown Los Angeles. And there was a big event going on inside when Viragosa was doing the feet washing, right, to people according to Bible. Outside there are people on the curb, by the curb, whatever, that I interviewed. One of them was a violinist.
Oh,
He still carried his big violin, and he even played a song for me at $5 of my cost.
wow.
Yeah, well, and he was, I can say, he's one of the best players. And he was exactly the kind of one, the people stumbled over something and never been able to get back on, so end up on the street. So if you really want to put them together, offer them a chance to get back on their feet, though, to make jobs that create a salary that support themselves, though, you reduce your own pressure by big extent.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
All
Them,
right.
either put them in a homeless shelter or affordable housing, and then help them to find a job. I've been there. When I first came to the United States, even though I got scholarship, I still do part-time job. I sometimes do 2 or 3 jobs.
Of course.
I work in the
Everybody does
bookstore.
the same thing, yes.
I work in the computer center of USC. I work in the landscape design from outside.
Sure,
I do
sure.
2 or 3 jobs at the same time sometimes. Yeah, we all been there. We all gone from the bottom of society, slowly climb up.
Okay, what are you
Well,
going to do
that's
with
up.
the criminals? Among them, there are the criminals.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the druggies. I'm talking about the criminals who steals, who rape, who fight, who drink a lot, who create problems on the streets, whatsoever. How do you want to deal with them?
We need to prosecute them and put them in jail.
No, you can't. Right now we have Proposition 47, we have Proposition 57, we have AB 1810. Even raping a subconscious woman is not raping anymore. Anybody in court can apply to the new law saying that I deserve a doctor for 2 years to define I'm on suffering. I'm a victim of my mental condition. So there's no prosecution at all. What are you going to do as a city mayor? Suppose you have 5 legs, 6 brains, or so on and so forth.
So we really need to find a way to send them to the right place, to send it to the confined center or something. They need to be separated from the good homeless people. We need to separate them. We need to find a solution. And talking about Proposition 47 and 57, I know the intention was to solve the overcrowded jail problem in California, but it's against by all the law enforcement create a lot of problems. If you steal or rob net less than $950, you don't have to go to jail. You get a citation. Those are ridiculous. Basically, the same criminal has committed hundreds of
right.
950 or less crimes. So that's
Misdemeanor.
That's why in San Francisco there are 20,000 cars window has been smashed in the past 1 year.
And
that's ridiculous.
That's why in Southern California, there is a signature campaign going on to overturn those laws.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, now, my dear friend, you heard about that. The candidate for City of Irvine council member is all for the signature campaign to overturn AB 109, Proposition 47, Proposition 57, and the AB 1810.
Yes.
That's a good stand. That's a good
Yeah,
position.
yeah.
All right.
Very
And then there's the needle exchange group of folks
Okay.
who are deep in the trouble already, right? and they are so deep in the trouble, they have to do the drugs on day-to-day basis, and they have to use the needles anyway. You know? How do you want to deploy the whole thing, relationship? Suppose if you are elected, how you want to deal with that problem?
My stand is, personally, I'm against the needle exchange program. But if I'm elected, I would just do a phase out of the needle exchange program. Try to spend more, work with the county, spend more money to help them to quit the drug first, put them in drug rehab. You want to reduce the number of drug addicts. That way you slowly pull back on the needle exchange program. Right now, if you give out 1,000, I'm just picking a number, if you give out 1,000 needles a day, maybe within 1 or 2 years, we give out less and less, 900, 800, because we reduce the number of drug rehab. We need to phase out the needle program. That's my stand. Yes, that's our common ground.
All right, very good, very good. Common ground. I'm so glad that Mr. Chen Gang and we have the closest mindset as possible. I like people with his mindset, and I really do wish that he has a better chance. He gets elected because the city needs a new hand. The city needs a new concept, and I believe that from now on, I will have him come here more often than not to share his concept, to share his campaign with you guys. We're a little over time, but we're happy that we did it. And my dear audiences, thank you very much, and thank you very much for watching. And if you would want to think about who to vote, though, consider my friend Chen Gang.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. So on November 6th, please vote for me, Gan Chen. And if you want to find out more about my campaign platform, you can go to my campaign website. It's GanChenUSA.com.
Just join you again.
Yeah, join our gang for better one. GANGCHENUSA.com.
All right,
Thank
good.
you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.